Have you heard a lot about this awesome mech game called Lancer and wanted to try it out, but got scared away because people use scary buzzwords like crunchy and complicated to describe it? Are you a refugee from a popular dungeon game that may or may not have dragons in it? More specifically, 5th edition? Have you clicked on a bunch of videos trying to learn only to be hit with 2 hours of lore and then just be told, use the web app, dead? Me too, friend. Hey there, I'm Sunny Mecha. I'm just your friendly neighborhood mech pilot with a deep love for tabletop games, and I'm here to ease you in. Today, I'm going to teach you how to make your first pilot and mech from scratch. Hopefully, this video will also help GMs bring new players up to speed so they can focus on exciting stories and bashing robots together. I'll timestamp this video to make it easier to navigate. And I'll try to keep all related information bundled together in their respective parts, so expect some redundancies here and there for all my skimmers out there. There will be 3 parts. 1, the dice and how they work. 2, pilot creation. And 3, mech creation. And you know what? I'll even throw in a 4th for CompCon, just because. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way with pencil and paper. Only when you do this once will I then give you CompCon clearance. 1. The dice and how they work. Okay, so to play Lancer, you only need to bring a d20 and a handful of d6s to the table. The d20 is useful for all checks, saves, and what have you. The d6s are used for damage, accuracy, this game's advantage, and difficulty, which is this game's disadvantage, and everything else. Sometimes you'll have to roll a d3, which is just a d6 halved and rounded up. I know that sounds complicated, but it just means 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3. Alternatively, if you don't want to do that mental math, you can actually get d6s that only go up to 3, so they'll have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s. Or, if you want to have some fun with it, you can get some funky d3 polyhedral dice used for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Now, those are very interesting to bring out onto the table if you really want to get weird. There are 2 types of play in Lancer. There's narrative play and mech combat, though it would probably be more accurate to think of this as pilot play and mech play. In narrative play, everything is resolved with skill checks, even combat. That's right, if combat doesn't involve a mech, it's treated like any other skill check. These are done by rolling a d20 and adding your relevant bonuses. A 10 plus is always a success, and a 9 or below is always a failure. There are exceptions to this, but unlike in D&D or other role-playing games where the target number can be whatever the DM wills, in Lancer, it is a very static number. There is only there's a few exceptions to this rule, but we'll get to that later. For now, you roll a d20, add your bonuses, and pray for a 10 or higher. Speaking of bonuses, these can either be statistical bonuses, we'll touch up on these when we make your character, or accuracy or difficulty. Accuracy, as a bonus, is represented by this symbol, while difficulty is this symbol. This is this game's advantage and disadvantage. You roll a d6 for every point of accuracy or difficulty applied to a roll. If a roll has 1 accuracy, you roll 1 d6 and add that to your roll. If a roll has 1 difficulty, you roll 1 d6 and you subtract that from your roll. Fun fact, 1 point of accuracy can cancel 1 point of difficulty, so a roll with 2 accuracy and 1 difficulty just means you roll 1 d6 instead of 2 for your accuracy. When you roll multiple dice, for example, 3 accuracy, you only pick the highest roll out of those 3 dice. The highest you can ever add or subtract from a roll is 6. No higher. Got it? Good. Now, the other 2 kinds of rolls besides skill checks are attacks and saves, which only apply in mech combat. Attacks are any offensive action, be it with weapons or hacking, against a target. Like checks, you roll a d20 and add your relevant bonuses. Since this is in combat, instead of meeting or beating 10, you have to meet or beat their defense. Successes are called hits, so some rolls will have additional effects on hits. 20 plus is a critical hit and can either target more damage or special effects. Got it? Cool. Saves operate the same as checks and attacks, only this time you're rolling to avoid things happening to you. Again, just roll a d20, add the relevant bonuses, you know the drill. This time, you have to meet or beat the ability the attacker is using against you. Outcomes differ depending on what's being thrown at you. Finally, we have contested checks. This is when you roll a d20 against someone else rolling a d20. You know the drill, roll a d20, add bonuses, only this time, you have to roll higher than the other guy. Ties always go in the favor of the person initiating the contest. So like, say for example, you have an arm wrestling contest against a buddy, right? If you initiated that contest, you just have to meet or beat their roll, whereas they have to get above your roll regardless. Tiebreaker always favors the aggressor. And that's it. You know how the dice work. Since you know how the dice work, you can kind of have a better idea how to build your character to benefit from these mechanics. But what good is a rolling system if you don't have a pilot? Suit up, cadet! It's time to build your pilot. Okay, so now we're in the meat of it. You'll be starting at license level 0. You heard me, level 0. No exceptions. At level 0, you start with the best mech in the game, the Everest, and some powerful weapons. In Lancer, you are the best of the best. Unlike in D&D, where level 1, you're only slightly above average compared to a peasant, in Lancer, at level 0, you are the average, and everything is beneath you. You are the gold standard. At level 0, young cadets already have posters of you on their wall wanting to grow up to be you. You can take a beating and dish out more than you can take. You aren't no-name McDip who left his farm to kill goblins and steal from dungeons. You're Chet Awesome Laser, call sign Pew Pew, and you enter every room dick first, soldier. A license level 3 character is about as complex as a level 12 character in D&D, roughly. So, license level 0 is your starting level. Don't worry, you'll go up a license level every time you complete a mission, success or fail. You need a background and 4 triggers. Your background can be anything, though I highly recommend looking through the lists of backgrounds on page 20 in the book. If you don't have the book, don't worry, we can fix that. The player version of the book is free on itch. I'll even link it here for you. Alright, you got it now? Cool. A background is just who you were before you became a Lancer and can be evoked in play to offer bonuses from time to time within reason. Each background has a list of example triggers, but you can also pick another background's triggers or make your own with the approval of your GM. Triggers are a short phrase that describes a specific concept like show off or apply fists to faces. At level 0, you get 4 + 2 pilot triggers. These can give you a bonus on relevant checks whenever they apply to your roll. You also get 1 + 2 mech skill or 2 + 1 mech skills. These are the hull, system, agility, and engineering skills and the little hexes on your character sheet. These stats also help improve your mech's base stats. Each point you put in hull adds +2 HP to your mech, and every 2 points adds +1 to your repair cap. Basically, how many times you can repair your mech during a mission. Each point in agility adds +1 evasion to your mech, every 2 points adds +1 speed. Each point in systems adds +1 E-defense to your mech, and every 2 points adds +1 system point or SP to your mech. Each point of engineering adds +1 heat cap to your mech, while every 2 points adds +1 maximum use to any limited systems or weapons, like grenades or something. I know a lot of this is intimidating, and so if it seems daunting, don't worry, this will all click after a few moments of play, just like any other RPG. This is one of those hobbies where it's very front-heavy with the rules, but once you start playing it, it all makes sense in context, This is just to help you get a decent idea of how you want to allocate your stats. Now, you also get 30 rank 1 talents, which can be found on page 90 in the book. Give these a good read. Some of these are very useful like Ace, while others are spicy like Technophile, giving you your very own sentient AI. Yeah, that's right. You can make your mech sentient at level 0. Finally, your starting HP is 6, E-defense is 10, evasion is 10, and your speed is 4. With that, your pilot's done. The rest is just picking your gear. You get 1 piece of armor, 2 weapons, and 3 pieces of other gear for free. I know it feels weird, but trust me, you're a Lancer now. You're worth it. You can change out this loadout before the start of a mission. We also haven't added your grit yet. That's because you don't get your first point of grit until level 1. Your grit is always half your license level rounded up and added to a lot of things to make them better. Since you're at 0, don't worry about it. Now, let's move on to the mechs. Now that your pilot is done, we can get in the fucking robot. At license level 0, you have access to the GMS SP1 Everest. This can easily be considered the best mech in the game, and it's just yours for free. You have access to all of General Massive Systems gear and equipment. Here's your stat block for your mech frame, by the way. And one of the cool things about this mech is how customizable it is. You can do whatever you want to make this mech look however you want it to. It's great. This is the mech you draw. This is your mech. So go ahead and jot down these core stats and traits onto your mech sheet. You've noticed that there's not a spot to record your repair cap. I like to write it above my mech's HP. Most mechs have a structure of 4 and a stress of 4 unless stated otherwise. Now, go ahead and add your stat bonuses to your mech. We touched on it in the pilot section, but if you just skip to this section, I'll put what each stat does for your mech on screen now. Also, don't worry if it seems like you don't have a lot of health. Every time your HP reaches 0, you lose 1 structure and go back to full health. Your mech is only destroyed when you reach 0 structure. You have 4 health bars because you are the boss fight. Now, on to adding weapons onto your mech. So you may have noticed that you have 3 different mounts on the Everest frame. You have a main mount, a flex mount, and a heavy mount. Main mounts can take 1 main or auxiliary weapon. Flexible mounts can take either 1 main weapon or up to 2 auxiliary weapons. Heavy mounts can take 1 heavy, main, or auxiliary weapon. There are a few others, but we'll worry about that later. For now, these are the 3 mounts your mech currently has. Go ahead and flip all the way to page 119 to the General Massive Systems Weapons List. Remember, right now, GMS lists are the only equipment lists you have clearance for. Okay, I'm also going to leave this equipment list up for a few seconds, so feel free to pause the video and add what you need to your mech. Be sure to write down any tags and do your best to write down the symbols the best you can. These are important. I'll even put up a little reference on screen just to show what each of these weird pictographs mean. It'll make life a little easier. These are courtesy of a 4-page rules reference I found that I'll link below in the description. Very useful stuff. Alright, got your weapons mounted? Good. Now, let's move on to your systems. Now you may have noticed that the Everest has 6 system points. Basically, each system we add to our mech takes up these points. This is basically the max you can have. You can't have more systems than our frame can handle. All the systems you can pick are on page 120 and 121 in your book. Go ahead and read through each one. Add any that seems spicy or useful. Remember, you can't exceed more than 6 system points total. Take your time. Maybe pause here while you're reading and choosing. Don't worry, I can wait. Alright, you got your system figured out? Awesome. Now, write the Everest core system underneath your systems, or you can jot that down in your core bonuses, since for now, you don't have to worry about that box until you hit license level 3. And with that, you're done. Congrats. Now, if you've been following along and making your character sheet along with me like you were supposed to, you may have noticed how annoying it was to flip between different sections, how the boxes are too small, how you have a bunch of tags and symbols and all sorts of stuff that don't make sense. Hell, there's not even a spot to write down your repair cap. Now I'm going to teach you how to do this all in CompCon. So with that, you have clearance. Oh, I also forgot your core power. You only ever have one of that. You either have it or you don't. Think of it like inspiration. For CompCon. All right. So now that we have CompCon open, just go over the pilot roster, create new pilot. Then you just enter in your name. So for this, we're just going to name our guy Chet. Awesome Laser. Call sign Pew Pew. We're gonna make him a Starship pilot. And you can also add a biography and a pilot description as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. What I will not skip is the image. There we go. Look at him in all of his majesty. All right. So then from there, you just hit continue, and then it'll walk you through your triggers. So all you have to do is just go through this list and just add them. You can read them to see what each of these pre-made ones do. So we'll go ahead and just add a bunch of these at random here. And as you can see at the bottom, you can also put in your own custom skill triggers as well. Again, talk with your GM before you start adding in just random triggers. And then we'll move on to the talents. So we'll just go ahead and select talents that we like here. So we'll do Ace Brawler, and then let me go ahead and just do... Let's do Drone Commander. There we go. Then we'll just go ahead and continue. And then Mech Skills. So we'll do 1 in Agility and 1 in Engineering, just so we can take care of those drones. And then with that, our pilot is done. So then you just register your new pilot, just so you can finalize that. And then you can just open them up again. And if you click here at the bottom, you see where it says Mech Hangar. You can add new mech. We'll add the Everest. That's a good one, just getting started. And then you can go in here and do all the little bits you need here. So we'll go ahead and add... We'll go ahead and just mount the weapons real quick. So we'll do an assault rifle, we'll do a missile rack. There we go. And here it actually tells us what loading does, which is why I really like it. The tags are always in a completely separate section in the book. So just having that information there readily is just so powerful when you're making your character. Then we'll do the anti-material rifle for our heavy mount. And then systems. Again, I'm just going to add a bunch of random systems here. So we'll do expanded compartment. There we go. We'll add a... Yeah, we'll add some deployable cover. There we go. And finally, Type 3 projector shields. There we go. And with that, we should be up and operational right there. And if you have any artwork for your own mech that you'd like to put in, you can actually set the mech image right here by clicking this button right here, and you can upload any image that you'd like. So here we have a bunch of CompCon stuff. I'm not going to worry about that for now. For all intents and purposes, our pilot is done. Just like that. There's a reason why people keep on telling you to use the web app, but now you understand why. And if push comes to shove, you can now do it without the web app. Especially if you have players that just don't want to use the app for whatever reason, or if you prefer to do things pencil and paper. With that, we are done. Now, of course, we didn't get into leveling up your character, which I will go ahead and put the little text blurb up on screen now, in case you wanted to do that manually. But CompCon also does it automatically for you as well. I'm sure you can figure it out. It's not that complicated. If you've been making a character along with us, go ahead and tell us about them in the comments below. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and see if we can get some games organized down there. If you're a GM who's been wanting to run this but have no idea where to find players, well, go ahead and post about your game idea down below. See if we can get some people, get some pilots. Let's get some bands together. And if you have any interesting stories you'd like to share from your experience playing Lancer, go ahead and drop them below as well. But with that, I think I've taken up enough of your time. This has been Sunny Mecha, signing off.